Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am making apple cinnamon quick bread. All right, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire. Welcome, come on in, make yourselves comfortable. Guess what? It is fall time, and that means I'm making everything pumpkin, everything apple, everything cinnamon, maple, all of those fall flavors that I love. So I love cooking with apples, and honestly, they're kind of an expensive ingredient for me compared to like a canned pumpkin, so I don't do as much cooking with apples as I'd like to. But that's all about to change this year because I went apple picking with my dad and I picked 20 pounds of apples. So if you and your family or whatever are going apple picking, maybe you just have an abundance of apples, maybe they're on sale, whatever circumstance in which you have apples to use, this recipe is for you. Now, today we are making a quick bread, and I love quick breads because they're basically kind of like a mixture between cake and bread. Because, you know, you don't let them rise, there's none of that, there's no kneading. I will also leave a full link to the recipe down below. This is from Sally's Baking Addiction, which is a very reliable food like blog website. I have used lots of the recipes from there. So if you're looking for other fall inspired recipes, I would check out some other stuff on Sally's Baking Addiction. So with that, let's get started. All right, a quick overview of the ingredients here. We have apples, sugar, flour, brown sugar, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla. Also, we have a little pouch of unsweetened applesauce. That's gonna just make it more appley. We also have a stick of butter, some milk, and of course the recipe calls for chicken eggs, but if you know me, if you love me, we raise quail at our house, so I always have quail eggs. So we are substituting quail eggs for the chicken eggs in this recipe. It's also important to note for this recipe, my eggs, my butter, and my milk are all room temperature. All right, the first thing we need to do is cut up our apples. We need 1.5 cups of peeled, chopped apples. We want them to be about 1/2 inch cubes. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna take about 3 of these apples, but I guess we'll see. All right, that was totally perfect. 3 like medium small apples or 1.5 cups chopped. All right, now to our apples, we are going to add some brown sugar. We're gonna use 1/3 cup. And to this, we're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give this just a little mix. Now I'm gonna set this aside. All right, we're gonna start by whisking all of our dry ingredients together, except for the sugar. We're gonna start with our flour, and we need 1 3/4 cups. Next, we're gonna add a teaspoon of cinnamon. Here we have 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Next, we have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, as well as 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which I'm just going to measure with my eyes. Now we're going to whisk it all together and set this aside. All right, so before I cream my sugar and my butter together, I'm gonna go ahead and crack all my eggs open because it takes a little bit longer than it does with a chicken egg. They taste the same. You can't tell the difference in a recipe, but the ratio is about 4 quail eggs is equal to 1 chicken egg. Now the recipe does say unsalted butter, but you will never catch me using unsalted butter for anything. To this, we're adding 3/4 cup of sugar. All right, now that our butter is creamed, we're gonna throw our eggs in. Once our eggs are combined, we are going to throw our vanilla in, and we're just doing 1 teaspoon of this. Next, we're gonna throw in our unsweetened applesauce. It should be this exact size of this pouch. We need 1/3 cup, but I wanted to measure it just to be safe. Look at that. So if you got kids in the house, if you got these little applesauce pouches, perfect size. time to combine our wet ingredients with our dry ingredients. And while this is mixing at a medium speed, I'm gonna add in my milk. This is 1/2 cup of milk. All right, we have our batter, we have our apples, time to assemble. All right, I'm going to put 1/2 of our batter into a greased loaf pan. You could also make mini loaves. I think that would be pretty fun. All right, now we are going to add our little apple mixture in the middle. And make sure you pour all of those juices out of there. Oh yeah. And now we're going to top it with the rest of our batter. All right, and our instructions, our very last instructions, are to take a knife and make a little swirl along the top. Well, I don't know why. Now this is a really thick loaf of bread. It's gonna take at least an hour to bake at 350 degrees. I am going to cover the top with foil loosely for the first half an hour, just so that the top doesn't get too brown before the middle gets cooked. I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer for that half an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll take the foil off. All right, you guys, my loaf has mostly cooled. It's a little warm on the bottom. But the kids are in bed, and my husband and I are gonna slice this up and give it a try. Oh my goodness, look at that apple layer. Yum. You could totally sprinkle this with some powdered sugar if you wanted to make it more like a cake instead of just a bread. Or you could do like a streusel crumble on top. I also think if you added pecans, it would also be really good. It's so good. It's like the perfect in-between between a cake and a bread. I love quick breads. Seriously, Sally's baking addiction never lets me down. However, I think if I were to do this again, I think I would mix the apples in rather than have an apple layer in the middle. Because as I'm slicing it, it's like clearly coming apart in the spot where the apples are in the center. I mean, it looks really pretty, and the pieces that have come out nice are very nice looking. But I would just like some more uniformity. I think that that's what I'll do next time. And there you go, apple cinnamon quick bread. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you make something a little bit fall inspired, whether it's apple or maple or cinnamon or pumpkin or whatever. Leave me your favorite fall sort of like a recipe or meal that you like to do this time of year down below. I'd love to hear what your traditions are. And of course, come on back for more content just like this, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!